So the federal NDP is having their convention in Edmonton. Edmonton's nickname is Gateway to the North, which in the past 10 years really means to the oil sands. So it's a bit of chutzpah. The anti-oil, anti-fossil fuels, anti-pipelines extremists are meeting there to talk about throwing everyone in the city out of work. Like if a bunch of vegetarians were having a meeting in cattle country talking about banning beef. The NDP are such low information hypocrites, none of them probably consider the irony of them all jetting across the country, burning jet fuel to meet to talk about how much they hate fossil fuels. But what about Thomas Mulcair? He's a smart man. He's smarter than his average party supporter by probably 30 IQ points. Listen to him talk about oil and gas with Peter Mansbridge on the eve of this policy conference.
I have nothing but the greatest respect for Rachel Notley's extraordinary NDP government there, because they are the first Alberta government to bring in a plan that would actually start bending the curve on greenhouse gas emissions. But it's Canada that signed in Paris, and it's Canada that has to sign on for a plan.
Yes or no to leaving the fossil fuels in the ground?
I am in favor of Canada playing its role to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in this country, something we have failed to do for 20 years.
And if the
we
party
will have
decides
a plan
that's
to do
the
that.
way,
if the party decides that that's the way, as the leader of the party, I'll do everything I can to make that a reality. But Canadians have been told too many things that haven't panned out for the past 20 years. I'm going to make sure that we put in place something where we internalize the environmental costs. User pay, polluter pay, those are all basic rules of sustainable development. That's what's been lacking in Canada, the political will to enforce those basic rules of sustainable development.
Really? So if the assorted fruits and nuts at the NDP convention, the union bosses, the perpetual students, the professional protesters, all of the takers, none of the makers, if all of them on the dole in some way, like really, if they voted to keep the oil in the ground, Thomas Mulcair would go along with that? Yeah, he said he would. As in ban drilling for oil. Ban it. Ban the jobs. Make them illegal. That's what that means. Thomas Mulcair would go along with that. But hang on, I know a way to keep the oil in the ground. Stop using it. Everyone in the NDP, just stop now. If no one uses oil, no one will make oil, right? So don't fly home, you guys. Don't drive home either. Don't heat your home in the winter or cool it in the summer. Don't use anything with plastic. That's made from oil. So no more smartphones, no more tweeting and Instagramming, no more polyester or other artificial fibers. Just wear wool or leather now. No rubber, that's all artificial these days too. Now, of course, they're not going to do that. So it's actually not about them wanting to live in a fossil fuel and plastics-free world. Each or any of them could immediately do that themselves. No, they don't want to. This is about punishing a province and an industry. It's about kicking Alberta when it's down, just like Rachel Notley's doing. She really fired the starter pistol here. Could you imagine if any political leader were asked, would you shut down Ontario's auto sector? Would you shut down agriculture? Would you shut down Montreal's aviation industry, dairy industry? Each of those is actually very much tied to fossil fuels. You can't build cars without a lot of energy. You can't drive a car without fuel. You can't make metal without coal. You can't fly a jet without jet fuel, etc. If someone asked Thomas Mulcair if he'd listen to a room full of Bernie Sanders wannabes if they voted to shut down Ford and GM and Chrysler or a Quebec industry, he'd laugh at the question. The question would never be asked in the first place. He'd ask the reporter why such a stupid question was even asked. But this is the state of politics and the media in Canada today. It's okay to talk about euthanizing hundreds of thousands of jobs, not because you're serious about stopping driving. No one is. Stop lying. It's because you're very serious, though, about killing the Conservative province and every job in it. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of The Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.